close. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. Another preseason preview of a somewhat marginal group of players here. We are covering the bench today, and we have 6-7 names. Some of them you guys are going to know. Some of them you're probably not, but it helps to know all of them. And you'll probably see all of the guys we're going to talk about at some point throughout the season. So it's better to prepare everyone now before they pop up in June and July and August. So what's going on, Johnny?
Not much, man. It's good to see the Phillies back on TV. I feel like it's been way too long. I'm tired of watching football and basketball. And it's good to see it. I've been watching a lot of these pitch clock videos. You been seeing any of this stuff going on Twitter? Everyone's up in arms.
Yeah, I have. Unfortunately, with the pitch clock, you only see the problems. Normally, those are the only videos you ever see. No one ever shows videos of it working and, going according to plan. But I have seen the videos, and I've actually had, I've watched games where the pitch clocks affected it. And, I have an opinion. I'll let you go first on kind of how you feel about it so far. It's different, and it's going to take some getting used to, but, MLB's bought in on this idea, and they're going full steam ahead with it.
Yeah, I think you could probably see it on my face already, but I absolutely hate it. I believe it is playing God with the game of baseball, and I all for it. You can make the bases bigger, you can do all sorts of things and whatever you want, and make it a 3-pitcher minimum out of the bullpen. But baseball is not a time sport. It never has been. The strategy between a batter and a pitcher should never be rushed, and I think it is turning baseball into something different. Maybe might be a more fun version, but I didn't sign up for this.
You're really assuming the old guy stance on this podcast. When people listen to our pod, they're going to assume you're the old guy.
That's fine.
Because you are very traditional when it comes to baseball. I'm on the other side of it. I really like the pitch clock. And I think they certainly have some stuff to work out. A game should never end or be decided on a pitch clock. I think everybody's in agreement there, even the people who are like all in on the pitch clock. It can't come down to it in the 9th inning. They got to figure something out there. Tweak the rules for when the game's on the line like that in the 9th specifically. But I think that you're probably going to get used to it and kind of forget it's there. I think all the players are going to get used to it, and they're going to forget it's there. It's going to take some getting used to, but you really, after you watch a game where they use the pitch clock and kind of think about what's happening, you realize how much time they actually do waste. I get the whole using the time to your advantage, and the beauty in baseball is the part where, when you're pitching and you're on the mound, you're in complete control of that game. And now with the clock, it introduces another aspect that affects it. And I do see the argument there, but you've also seen, pitchers are starting to play with it a little bit and still use it to their advantage. I don't know if you saw the video of Max Scherzer.
Yeah, well,
he's a goof. That was interesting, but they're going to get used to it. And, I actually think it's going to end up helping the pitchers more than anybody, really. If anybody should be mad, it's the hitters, because pitchers are very rhythm oriented when they're on the mound. Hitters really don't, you get up there and you get one chance. Pitchers out there for 6-7 innings. So you get them into a rhythm, and it's hard to really break it. But I get it. I get why they're doing it. I get why people like it. I get why people don't like it, but it's here to stay.
I think my only objection or adjustment to the rule would be it's 15 seconds, correct?
I don't even know. I really don't know.
So I think, because I did watch two games with it recently, and yes, it eliminated a lot of time, and there's some really quick innings, which was nice to like kind of speed it up. But how about we keep it the 15 seconds from the first to the sixth inning, and then it goes up 3 seconds every late inning? Because I think you need more time late in the game. There's more nerves.
I like that.
And that's the best part of the game, and it would incentivize people to watch the end of games, which is, I think, what MLB wants. They want full viewership throughout the game, which has definitely been lacking.
I think they will make a change about the last inning. I don't know if they're going to make a change for the last couple innings, but it's not a bad idea. It's it's going to take some getting used to, and it's weird. Baseball really never changes, which is part of the reason we like it so much. It's a sport that really you come to know what to expect with everything, but the stats aren't really changing. Hitters are kind of hitting the same way. Pitchers are kind of getting the same outcome, and the game's just shorter. And it's those games that you find yourself just sitting through, and they take forever. Um, they want to stop that, and I can't blame them for wanting to stop that because those games are terrible. They're not fun to sit through those 5-hour games where you get pitching changes and base runners are just all over the place and the game's just crawling along. They want to stop that, and it might be a little drastic what they've done so far, but they did need to do something to speed the game up because people's attention spans nowadays, man, it's crazy. I even noticed in myself. I'm not even like a high schooler right now, and I've noticed that my attention span just in life has gotten really short. And baseball sees that, and they know that if they're going to appeal to a younger generation that grew up on TikTok and Instagram, and stuff has to get your attention fast. Baseball's not going to be able to compete, especially with the sports like basketball and kind of football, where there's always something happening. Um, it stinks messing with it because it's a game of such heritage and such history, and um, it just has such a strong foundation for the rules and how it's played. But I get the idea. I think
Yeah,
it'll
I,
grow.
I
I think it'll
think you
grow on you a
definitely,
little bit.
I think you definitely have some real good points about that. There's definitely going to be some positives, and it'll take some time to get used to for sure. But I got to stick to my guns, and I don't think baseball should change to appease a generation when the game we had before was fine for every other generation. It'll
They're,
find.
they're the future. How no fans, baseball doesn't make money. Ultimately, they're a corporation, and a corporation's goal is to make money, and you make money by people buying your service. And the way people are going to buy their service, the way people are going to watch, is by providing a product that they want. And people want instant gratification now in everything. And baseball's not that type of sport, and it's trying to be. It's trying. It's trying to be a little better with that, and I definitely get it.
Yeah, I just still am not sold on the fact that the fans that didn't like baseball before, I don't think this is still going to turn them into baseball fans.
I heard that argument too, where the people. Yeah, no, what you're saying is the baseball fans who are currently baseball fans like it the way it is, and that's why they're baseball fans. And if you're not a baseball fan, them lowering the time of the game isn't going to make you a baseball fan. And like, there's a separation there that lowering the time is not really going to um, matter. But I think they're thinking really long term here. And viewership, they want viewership throughout the games because that comes down to ad revenue and just TV and all that kind of stuff. They're thinking about that side of it that we don't think about. And there's so much that goes into this that we're just not talking about because we don't
Yeah,
understand it. But no, I resonate with that a little bit. It's a very good point.
but I guess we will move on, and I guess we'll hear more about it, and we'll probably continue talking about it. So,
Yeah, on a funnier note, I never really had a problem with the. I don't know if it's just me, but I never had a problem with the length of games because I've gotten so used to T-Mac and Kruk just winding on and on about just random stuff the whole game. They've gotten so good at filling time that it has never been a problem for me. because they have like their own talk show during the game, and they're very good at filling the clock. And I've noticed these past couple spring training games, they do interviews, and the interviews are super quick because the game's moving, and you used to really be able to talk to the guys, and now it's it's a couple minutes at most, and it's weird.
I guess not everyone has a quality broadcast team like the Phillies.
No, we're very fortunate.
Yeah, because John Kruk, I mean, like that guy's like an improv king. It's like funny as hell watching that dude go.
That guy can talk to himself for just as a 9 to 5 job. He could just talk to himself all day. It's crazy, but it's easy to listen to. That's for sure.
I'm pretty sure every Philly fan listening to this has definitely like had a bad day and like went home and like, let me just hear Kruk. Like, come on, like let me just like have a beer and like let me hear Kruk say some shit.
Yeah. It's almost it's like a comfort food just listening to those guys
exactly.
talk. It's weird, but yeah, no, that's a pitch clock. We'll wrap that up because we already spent way too much time on that. And
oh well.
Other stuff to get to. The bench. Let me pull up my slides that are here.
Nice.
Yes, change the format a little bit. Just keeping it fresh. The bench, Johnny. Not the most interesting thing to talk about, but we need to hit it because there's some positional battles going on. There's some new names. We traded away a bunch of our bench pretty much to get Gregory Soto. Matt Vierling and Nick Maton are no longer here. So that's 2 spots that are open, and we have a list of guys here that are going to fill those spots. But start off with Stubbsy, get him out of the way. Not really much to say here because his job is fully his. He's a very good backup catcher. He looks like he's a joy to throw to. He's completely adequate with the bat. I remember last year when there was a whole group of people who wanted him to play over JT when JT was scuffling because he was hitting really well for the first part of that season. And then, JT just plays so much that you really don't get to see him. We didn't really even see him in the playoffs because JT played every game, and that's the part of the life of being a backup catcher. But he does it well, and he's a great personality to have, and he has some team control, and he's probably going to be around here for a minute, isn't he?
He seems like he's the backup for – I mean, we got a good one. I mean, a guy that's young, getting better, awesome in the clubhouse. Everyone loves Garrett Stubbs. I mean, I have his Spotify playlist on my phone. And, yeah, I don't see Garrett – I think Garrett Stubbs is here for the next 3 years. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel completely comfortable with him producing when JT needs to sit, which I think might be a little more this year because of his heavy workload last year.
Yeah, we'll see. For these bench pieces, it's weird because this information is just not super useful for a bench piece. But pop time to second base, 95th percentile, 93rd. That's pretty impressive. Not gonna lie.
Not bad at all.
And that 128 weighted runs created plus. He's a solid baseball player, and he's not going to he's not going to be able to do that for 500-600 at bats, but that's why he's a backup, and he does his job very well. So that's kind of all there is to Stubbsy. Behind him,
I got an over-under.
Let me hear it.
Over-under for Garrett Stubbs. No. I was going to go with it first, but I want to be more fun than that. Over-under 5 home runs for Stubbsy in 2023.
Oh, that's a good one.
5 in 2022, so.
All right, so how many games did he play? He played 50 games and only had 5 home runs. I got to take the under there. I'm thinking, he's going to play less, and there's a little more information out there on him as a player. So let's assume that there's some adjustments being made. I'll say it's 4 over 47 games.
The under sounds like the logical bet here.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy with 5 home runs in 4 seasons. So
yeah. Safe
let's
under,
go.
Probably.
Let's go with the under there. Behind Stubbs, there's Marchand, and I guess that's it.
Yeah, we don't have Donnie Sands anymore, right?
No, we traded him away. So I guess it's Marshawn, and then we have to dig really deep if we
Yeah,
get
and then
past
someone
that.
like single A or double A.
Yeah, but Marshawn's good too, and he knows the pitching staff, so he's another useful guy to have. We obviously don't have a slide on him because he's not going to be on the major league team, but he'll probably get some work this spring because JT and Stubbs are in the World Baseball Classic.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's a good defensive catcher. I'd like to get him a little experience.
Edmundo.
My guy. Love this dude.
I like Edmundo. Basically, he's probably the best defender on the team. I think that's probably safe to say. And we're teaching him to play center field.
I didn't even see that, actually.
Yeah, he's getting some time out there. I saw him the other day, and Topper was talking about it. They're going to really keep him out there and let him figure it out. And if you're that good at shortstop, you can probably figure out the outfield. Let's be real. That's not a discredit. That's not to discredit outfielders, but shortstop's not easy to play, and he does it incredibly well. He's going to play third, second, short, maybe all three outfield positions this year, and I feel good about him with the bat because he's not going to wow you with the plate discipline, but he can give you some pop off the bench, and it's just it's a useful player to have, someone who's super good on D and who can tie a game up when you need him.
Absolutely. His versatility defensively, is just such a nice thing to have. And no one, I was looking at some of his defensive, metrics and stuff. His range is ridiculous at shortstop. So center field, you would think, it's the second most, range-oriented, position where you have to cover a large part of the field. I feel like just off of, instincts, I feel like he's got it. He probably can handle it.
Yeah, so the arm strength isn't super good, but you see
It's true.
outfielders. You see outfielders all the time get away with way less.
Just hit your cutoff.
Yeah, just hit your cutoff. No big deal. From what I understand about infielders playing outfield, the hardest part's going to be getting reads on the ball. Apparently, when you're an infielder and you transition out there, you tend to take a step back, and because infielders, they take that step back as soon as the ball's hit. That's how they kind of react to it. Outfielders, you don't do that. You step depending on where it's hit, and that's probably a tough adjustment. But you see Nick Maton make an adjustment like that and be able to play outfield, and there's no reason to think Sosa won't be able to do it just as well.
Yeah, Sosa's speed is also at a very elite level, so I feel like he can kind of make up for bad jumps at times if needed.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, his job's 100% safe. Moving on, Josh Harrison.
Yeah,
over under.
Last year, Sosa had 9 outs above average with us and St. Louis combined. This year, over under 8 outs above average.
Under because he's going to play outfield and he's not going to be super good at it to start, and it's going to probably mess up his stats. But
I didn't even factor that in.
I'll take the over the following year, if that makes sense.
I got you.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he's going to have some learning problems out there, but he'll figure it out eventually. Josh Harrison, and this is a guy who actually had enough at-bats last year to register on Baseball Savant, and it's pretty ugly. There's a lot of blue there. He's not really known for too much thump with the bat, but he's probably an awesome clubhouse guy, and he's been around here for a really long time. He's been with the Nationals. He's been with the Pirates. He was in Philly at one point, and he was with the White Sox last year. So this is a veteran. You can never have enough of these guys in the clubhouse. They're just super useful to have around. He's played in the playoffs. Has he played in the playoffs? I'm looking at this now.
Pittsburgh, right? With McCutchen.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, with that MVP McCutchen year, he was on the team.
I thought he was on the Nationals in 2019, but it looks like he got there the following year. Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Howie Kendrick was, though.
Yeah, I'm probably getting them mixed up, but with the game on the line, you feel okay with this guy. He's been in the league so long that he can probably handle himself and compose himself well. in the playoffs where we hope to get. And in a playoff run, you want guys like that. You don't want to be calling up AAA guys who have never been there before. It's just a recipe for disaster. And he's a depth piece. And when we traded Vierling and Maton, we signed him because we think he can do what they did, and he probably can. It's just not going to be super flashy, and you'll probably forget he's here more often than not. You probably just won't even remember he's on the team, but that's fine. That's part of the team.
He's not going to get a lot of innings. I think everyone knows that, but I think you rather, like, on the stage the Phillies are at right now, you want to have like a guy like this in the back end of the bench compared to a young guy, because you can make a difference just with a good personality on like a winning team. And there is still a lot of young guys, a lot of young infielders in this team. A guy like Josh Harrison could teach them a lot, and he's not asking to play every day. So that's like young guys. With young guys, you feel bad stunting their growth a little bit, but not with Josh Harrison, because like his career is just about done.
Yeah, he's a direct comparison to Maton. And Maton was a super good clubhouse personality, but he probably wanted to be out there every day, and he wanted to get his at-bats. And Josh Harrison is a similar skill set, and he understands his role, and it's a different mindset. And there's nothing wrong with Maton wanting to play every day. If you're a young player, you want that opportunity, and he has that now. But this is a guy he's a glue guy. Ultimately, he's just a glue guy who fills out a roster with what you need. And it looks like second base, he was pretty good. I'd imagine that's a lot of the defensive metrics. It's being weighed heavily by his time at second base, because I think that's where he played for the most part last year.
Yeah.
So
I think that's probably he'll get most of his backup time this year.
Yeah. So pretty good defensive metrics, and sprint speed's pretty good. Do you think that there's any type of doubt that we're not 100% sure what Bryson Stott is yet as a player, so let's bring in a fringe starter who plays second base just in case? Do you think that was the thought here, or am I overthinking it?
I think you're overthinking it. I think if the Phillies had no confidence in Bryson Stott, then they probably bring back Gene Segura.
He's a righty and he plays second base. And he was pretty cheap, and he feels like a pretty good compliment to Bryson Stott if we were to platoon him with somebody.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. It's like a security blanket type thing, having him as the righty to back him up, but no threat to Bryson. Over under 25 RBIs for Josh Harrison in 2023.
Way under.
Yeah.
Way under. He had 119 games last year.
20.
Wait, so he had 119 games and he had 27 RBIs.
Yeah, that ratio is crazy.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Yeah, give me the under all day. At that rate, he might not have like 10 RBIs.
Well, could have just been a down year playing on the White Sox. No one does well on that team.
27.
Sorry, White Sox fans. I don't think any of you listen.
Give me the under there.
All
let's
right.
move on.
It's been a pretty easy one for you.
Dalton Guthrie, who came out of nowhere, and there's really nothing to say about Dalton Guthrie.
No.
He's a fourth outfielder who can play all three positions, and
I
don't know much about the guy as a person. I just know that he's depth, and he brings some good defense. He's fast, and I don't feel great about him with the bat, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about him.
Yeah, I don't see Dalton Guthrie making the team.
Really?
I don't. I think we have other options, and Kody Clemens and Jake Cave, who have been performing a lot better this spring too. And Guthrie can go back to AAA. He has options.
Yeah,
wouldn't hurt to have some depth in AAA at all.
You're right. That's a good point. He's so young that this is just a guy that you bring up and down depending on injuries for the next 2-3 years, just because he has that flexibility. And yeah, he's fringy. He's a fringe big leaguer, but he earned that call up last year by nature of playing well and us having no better options. So you got to give it to him in terms of that. I'm sure we'll see quite a bit of him this year, even if he doesn't make the team. But yeah, this is depth at its finest.
I don't have an over-under, but I guess I'll do. Do you think he's going to make the team, or do you not think he's going to make the team?
No, I don't think he's going to make the team, but he'll be up at one point.
Yeah, up and down, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll be up at one point. Darick Hall, who is probably the most well-known player out of this group, I think. He came up last year after tearing it up in AAA, and he continued to kind of rake his first couple weeks in the majors. This guy can mash righties. No one's ever going to argue that. I don't think he'll ever really be super good at hitting lefties. He's a clear platoon, and his defensive limitations are pretty brutal because there's really only one position he can play, and it's a position that a couple guys on the team can already play. If he makes the team, it's going to be because he can hit, and that's kind of the extent of it. It is nice having this big lefty bat while Bryce is out. He's obviously super capable of changing a game just with one swing, and those players are always good to have on the bench. You look at the Phillies from the late 2000s, Matt Stairs, super good comp. Just that type of player who, say there's a righty on the mound who they have to leave in, and you need the game to be changed in a significant way. He's the best candidate for the job. And he has options, and he's kind of on the older side. He's already 27, I want to say. So he's a very interesting player. He's a super good story as well because 26 years old, major league debut, and he was not a super heralded prospect. I like him as a person and as a bat, and I'm sure there's going to be times during the season where we think that he should be getting more at-bats than he is. But he's very one-dimensional, and it's tough building a roster with this type of player.
Yeah, I think that was all really well said. Derek Carr, it's interesting because there's two different tones with him. It's like he's all he'll ever be is a minor league star, and like I get where people are coming from with that. And then there's like the people that are like Darick Hall can like be a god this year. It's like, all right, we got to meet in the middle with this, like. More of like a quadruple A like type star, like where he's never going to be a star at the big leagues, but he can certainly be a great power bench bat for a team that's really, really deep. And sure, he can't hit lefties, and sure he strikes out a lot. But if he can kind of fill that void of that power absence that we're going to have when Harper's gone, he'll make the team because of that.
Yeah, so do you think he's got a spot coming out of camp?
I think because of the Harper thing, we need more power from the left-hand side.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. He's such a clear candidate for just a DH spot since we don't have it right now. And it's right time, right place for him at the end of the day. I mean, this is a super good opportunity. And he got really fortunate last year because there was no path for him, dude. And I feel bad as a 26-year-old player who was raking. He deserved that call up, and he made the most of it, and he's in consideration right now. But it's just he's such a limited player, and there's not much you can do with him. Once Bryce comes back, I think he's probably going to get sent down, but the guy can hit.
Or involved in like a trade. Like the way I look at it, like him making like the team and like having a really good start could be like good, mutually like beneficial for him and us because we need the production early in the season from the left-hand side. And if he does real well and Bryce comes back, we have absolutely nowhere to put him on the field. Why not trade him to like a Pirates who are rebuilding and could use a young first baseman?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you look at some of these rebuilding teams, and why wouldn't you take a chance on the 27-year-old who just mashes righties? There's a world.
Sounds like Josh Bell.
Yeah, there's a world here where he's Joey Gallo without the plate discipline, and Joey Gallo keeps getting major league contracts and keeps batting 190. So it's not the window is not closed on him being a productive major leaguer. It's just. You look at this team and the way we built it with Rhys Hoskins already being pretty one-dimensional and locking up the DH spot, there's just not a clear path for him forward. And that's not to say I'm not rooting for him. I wish there was. It's just I just said right time, right place. It's wrong time, wrong place at the end of the day for him with the Phils. It's weird. It's confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Side note, we won't go into it, but first base position is really dying in baseball.
Yeah, I thought that until I got into my fantasy draft last night, and I realized I took like 8 first basemen because first base was pretty good in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, but I guess fantasy baseball, there's no defense in fantasy baseball.
Dude, I took Olsen and Hoskins and Nate Lowe, and it's just
I saw that. I was like, where is he going with this?
I just kept taking first baseman. I do it every year. I don't know why, because I take the best. I get to a point in the draft where I take the best player available, and because there's so many first basemen, it's usually a first baseman. So I just take them, and I end up with a million first basemen, kind of like the Phillies.
Well, I'm a sucker for bounce back shortstops. If that's what are you gonna do about it?
You have an over-under?
That's all I draft.
Over-under?
Over-under 15 home runs for Darick Hall.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over too. He's going to play. If we think he's going to play as much as, if he plays as much as we think, it's going to be probably 300 at bats, and I think he's got, over a full season, probably 35 homer pop. Yeah, give me the over there. Yeah, it just comes down to how many lefties we end up facing, because I think he's going to sit during lefties. But fortunately, there's a lot of righties out there in the game. Kody Clemens, who most people probably don't know, and he is related to Roger Clemens, if you're curious. He plays a ton of different positions. He is pretty interesting. He's a little older. He's vying for a spot. I don't know a ton about him, but I knew that the Phillies do kind of think that there's more in there with the bat. At the end of the day, the outcomes for Nick Maton and Kody Clemens are probably pretty similar. It was a little confusing why they even gave him up in the first place. I guess Maton's a little younger, and he's a lefty who showed some potential. But Kody Clemens can give us that Nick Maton production, and he's going to play all over the diamond, and he's probably going to make this team out of camp, if I had to guess. Would you say?
I think that final spot looks like it's going to go down to Kody Clemens and Jake Cave. And I think, if Guthrie doesn't make it, I kind of have Cave getting the spot over Clemens.
Yeah.
But Clemens is another guy, I feel like, because of his versatility, he could go down to AAA. Phillies can find his best positions, what they believe are his best positions. And if a guy like Josh Harrison declines, kind of like Didi did last year, you cut him and you bring up a guy like Kody Clemens.
Yeah, a lot of these things I'm looking at here, the sprint speed, the arm strength, pretty much all the hitting stats, it doesn't signal that this is going to be a very good player. But like I said, the Tigers and the Phillies both thought that, there's talent here. And he's played all 3 infield positions, I believe, so far. And I've seen a lot of them. They're finding ways to get him in the lineup, which must mean something. So, he might be winning the trusted topper, and yeah, we'll see. I think, he's another useful guy to have on a team.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Do you have an over under?
Do you think he's make the team or no?
I do. Yeah.
I do not. All right.
Jake Cave. Now we're getting down to the fun guy. Jake Cave kind of mashes, dude. He kind of mashes.
He does mash. It kind of seems like an absolute great fit for this team.
Yeah, every time I tune in, he's hitting a home run.
Yeah, I think I watched him. I literally turned on the TV the other day and he hit a home run. It was wild.
Yeah, he can play all 3 outfield positions. He has a ton of major league experience. He's gotten almost 1,000 at bats. This is a somewhat of a veteran in layman's terms, and this guy, he sprint speed's good, arm strength's good. He probably mashes righties. He plays all 3 outfield spots. I wish he was a righty to kind of complement Marsh, but we can't have it all. And I think he's earning his way onto this team because he's showed up and he's done nothing but hit since he's gotten here.
Yeah, you said it right, and he's kind of did what Guthrie should have tried to do this spring. I mean, this really could have been Dalton Guthrie's spot on the roster, just because he plays all three positions and he's a righty with all of our lefty outfielders. But if you can hit, they're going to find a place for you on the roster, and I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah, if you kind of project out his stats over a full season, he's probably got 25 homer pop from the left side. The approach is fine. He strikes out a little bit, but just looking at the numbers here, he seems to be a good defensive outfielder. He can run it down. He's got a good arm. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got a spot here, and it's going to come at the expense. He is he's 30 now, so.
But another guy that knows how to play that role on a team, only getting 200 at bats or 200 plate appearances.
Yeah. Do you have an over under for him?
I do, and over under a 30% strikeout rate.
Oh, over.
Over, yeah. It looked like an outlier in 2022 for sure.
Yeah, give me the over. He's going to strike out quite a bit, and it's fine because in limited
his game.
Yeah, in limited plate appearances, you can put him in spots where he might, kind of find success, put him in against righties who he lines up to be pretty good against, and limit those lefties who he probably can't hit, let's be real. Yeah, he's going to get some time on this team, and that kind of wraps up my list. I guess if I had to ask you a question, thinking 4 or 5 bench spots, and I had 6 or 7 guys who are going to be. Let's put it at 4, because I think we're going to carry the extra arm early in the season. Who are you gonna pick as your 4 guys?
I had 5, so you're kind of putting me in a spot here.
Yeah, we need 4. I really think they're going to take 4 and take an extra arm early in the season.
What extra arm?
I think Andrew Baker probably.
Ooh, I disagree. I think they're going to go with the 5 on the bench. But if they do go 4, then I'll probably have them. It's a tough decision, kind of get down to 4.
Hey, you're manager here. You got to pick. Got to send one guy home.
I'm not carrying Andrew Baker. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Andrew Baker. I mean, it might be Munoz, who we got from the Giants. He's looked nasty. It could be Noah Song because he was a Rule 5 draft pick. We need to put him on the roster. Could be any of those 3 guys. But I really do think they're going to take a pitcher. Who are your 4? I know you're stalling here.
I would just call it a difference in opinion.
Give me 4 names.
I don't even believe this is so hypothetical. I mean, you don't even know this is a fact.
Give me 5 names then. I can tell it's a moral dilemma for you.
It is a moral dilemma here. Garrett Stubbs, Darick Hall, Edmundo Sosa, Josh Harrison, and Jake Cave.
Okay.
I think that's our bench.
So I guess your issue was Cave or Hall. Yeah.
Basically,
all right,
yeah.
I tend to agree. I like your 5.
I just think these guys all have something that can complement our weaknesses.
We have 1 righty there and 3 lefties. I don't know if they're going to think that they might want some more righty bats off the bench. And if they do, then that's where Dalton Guthrie comes in. Not that it gives you much with the bat, but I think I'd probably go with your 5. What are the chances that one of those names is Scott Kingery?
I don't think we gave Scott Kingery enough love, but
he's getting paid more than all of them combined.
Yeah, I think we got to pay aside here and swallow the pride, and Scott's still got to prove some things to us in AAA before we bring him up.
It's a contract year. He's playing for a contract.
It's a team option, right?
Yeah, he wants that option.
We're declining it. We're declining it.
I mean,
we've already paid the guy $21 million.
He puts together a good year. $14 million might be a bargain.
Shut up. You just want to wear your Scott Kingery jersey again.
Man, I'm rooting for Scotty. I hope he figures it out eventually. And he looks much better. I know you said you hadn't seen much of him, but he's playing confident, and I saw him swipe a base, and he's really building himself back up, and that's what he had to do. And hopefully it works out for him, because it's got to be tough what he's going through.
Yeah, even if he could become a Josh Harrison type guy for the rest of his career, that would still be a silver lining for this downfall.
Yeah, one of the bigger what ifs of the rebuild was Scott Kingery, but we're getting near this 40-minute mark, so let's wrap it up. You got anything else?
No, that's the bench, and I think these guys are gonna make an incremental impact that's gonna make a huge difference in the long run. I'm excited.
Lineup next time?
Oh yeah, starting lineup, the good stuff we've all been waiting for.
We will do the starting lineup, and then we got the rotation, and then I think right around then we'll have a special announcement coming to you guys. We have something planned, and we will have more information for you soon. So stay tuned regarding that. And we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys, as always, for listening.
Go Phils.